We're not talking about hazy internet rumors here, but here's something crazy that most people either missed or don't want to touch. What if Meghan Markle never had children at all? Her own father has publicly stated that Meghan frozen her eggs years ago, and her brother claimed to have had a hysterectomy after that. And here's the thing, it allegedly occurred when she was still married to Trevor Englison, long before Prince Harry entered the picture. That alone completely upends their idyllic family story. The more you learn, the more complicated it becomes. The true problem with frozen eggs is that it appears she couldn't afford to keep them preserved for an extended period of time. The cost of doing so ranges from $8,000 a month, and she's changed. She's not the daughter I knew. My daughter was a much more generous and affectionate person than she is now. And if the rumors are to be believed, Meghan didn't have that much money back then. Insiders claim that she made about $7,000 per episode of Suits, and that's when she even appeared, which wasn't very often over the course of 108 episodes. Time adds up to roughly 138 minutes, which is essentially blink and miss it level. Now imagine this. She suffers a hysterectomy, loses access to the frozen eggs because she cannot afford the storage, and nevertheless appears years later with 2 children that are purportedly hers. Begin to raise questions, and it's not just conjecture. People have been dissecting her entire motherhood story like a detective cracking a case. There is almost any actual video or images of her being publicly loving with the kids, the typical mother fare. Hugs, messy kisses. There are even rumors that the young girl we saw at Disneyland one day isn't the same one we saw the next day in a different dress. Are we really seeing different children used in different appearances in that moon? Instead, the kids appear awkward in every public sighting like props in a staged scene. In addition to raising eyebrows, bump clip bro Meghan was seen walking around in a hospital during the pandemic with what many claim is an obviously fake pregnancy belly. At the time, strict CO regulations were in effect and hospital policies were very stringent, particularly for maternity care. When her children are mentioned in interviews or public appearances, she always comes across as so aloof, as if there is no genuine maternal warmth, and her responses are flat, at times even strangely performative. Wards, you couldn't just walk in, let alone bring in camera crews and pose for content. It's not even hate, it's just observation that something doesn't sit right. Even her dad noticed that she's just going through the motions of being a mother without any genuine connection. What's crazy is that this isn't just some random internet troll spewing hate. It's her dad dropping a receipt he claimed she had. Her brother confirmed that she had a hysterectomy after having her eggs removed and frozen, which is not mere banter. If it is true, it is a bombshell that completely upends the story of her biological motherhood. And worse, no one in the mainstream media is questioning it. They simply ignore it as if it never occurred. So you have to wonder, if Meghan was truly incapable of having children, where did Archie and Lyle come from? Why does it seem like the palace, the media, and even the general public are all skirting the most important unresolved issue in the royal saga? What really throws people are offended by the way Meghan and Harry pretend to be perfect parents while avoiding any genuine transparency. Every time those children are raised, the pictures are either extremely staged or oddly ambiguous. There are no actual birth photos or unfiltered moments, only carefully chosen pictures that seem more like promotional content than family photos. There is a strange detail: no hospital confirmations, no medical professionals coming out, and not even a blurry paparazzi image showing Meghan pregnant in a private moment. For a couple who are often in the spotlight, that is nearly impossible, and there is footage supporting moon bump ideas. When Meghan squats down, her belly literally shifts and folds in an unnatural way. It's not just an awkward angle, it's a props department error. People zoomed in, slowed it down, and examined it frame by frame. And what they discovered doesn't scream baby bump, but rather foam padding. Although she didn't want to acknowledge it, using a surrogate changes the rules if there is real fraud involved. Authenticity and public trust are now at stake, and there is also the matter of the children's birth certificates. According to one tale, Meghan had her royal... Insiders claim that Archie and Lalate's papers somehow slipped through the cracks with titles attached, even though immigration officials were informed that this was not regular practice and that royal titles aren't intended to be used as legal identities in the U.S. Harry, on the other hand, is not an innocent bystander. He is playing along just fine, smiling for the camera, riding the wave, and even demanding HR titles for the kids that are allegedly confused and allegedly reached out to King Charles for clarification. That doesn't happen unless something really shady is going on, caused a lot of trouble behind the scenes.
The Queen allegedly stated before she passed that no HR titles would be granted to individuals leaving royal duties, but Harry is attempting to push it through nevertheless. And according to several reports, Charles caved in the man who was meant to clean up those titles were handed away like party treats because of the monarchy's reputation. But let's take a moment to consider why Meghan would go to all this trouble in the first place. Some claim it was to build her brand, while others claim it was to guarantee her position in history. However, one idea sticks out. She thought having royal children would keep her in the monarchy indefinitely, not just in name, but also in influence. She has 2 children with HR titles from the company, which gives her leverage and long-term PR power. Whether she gave birth or not is essentially irrelevant if the public accepts the story, but cracks continue to show Meghan's behavior toward the Ford. The children appear to be being managed by assistants. There is always a handler close by, giving the impression that this is for the camera. In one video, she awkwardly holds one child as if she has never held a toddler in her life. She makes no eye contact, makes no calming gestures, and adopts stiff posture. Are not naive. They recognize the discrepancies. The question that keeps coming up is, if these children aren't biologically hers and the palace is aware of it, why is everyone acting like everything is normal? Is it out of shame or fear? The strange body language and lack of genuine feeling. Meghan's supporters constantly argue that she is just private. But there's a difference between privacy and when it appears that you staged a whole pregnancy, hired stand-in children, and manipulated your way into royal status. There's something deeper that we haven't even begun to comprehend yet. When you continue to use royal titles, appear on the official monarchy website, and profit from the Duchess brand whenever you can, it ceases to be about personal boundaries and instead becomes about public deception. Then there's the timing of everything. The video of Meghan, almost as a diversionary tactic, twerking went viral at the same time that new questions about the children began to surface. This created controversy and diverted attention from the real questions, such as who these children are and why, if she is their mother, there is a need for. In order to avoid the main question, it seems like the plan is to keep coming up with new headlines, stories, and outrage bait. However, Meghan seems to be missing the fact that this type of attention doesn't create legacy. Rather, it burns it. Kardashian analogies, she obviously adores them, but they don't work here. People are now more interested in Harry than ever before, because in the end, this isn't simply Meghan's charade. Kim and Paris weren't asserting royal legitimacy, nor were they using children as the focal point of a public relations power play. Harry is deeply involved in it as well. He is not a helpless fool who is tricked. Rather, he is actively influencing the narrative. A man who once declared that he detested the press now appears to be fixated on preserving their reputation. He calls the paparazzi when it suits him and files lawsuits when it doesn't. This is blatant hypocrisy. The royal family, meanwhile, remains silent, makes no statements, and shows no resistance, just a tacit, uncomfortable tolerance. However, silence is not neutrality. Rather, it is complicity, particularly when 2 individuals who quit their jobs but kept their benefits are tarnishing the monarchy's reputation. Meghan continues to sign, there is no accountability, no boundaries are set, and every time Meghan shares a meticulously staged photo with one of those children, Harry continues to demand royal treatment on foreign tours, and the palace still posts their biographies on the official royal website. A speech about defending his family. Since it's now about the organization they represent and the trust they've stolen, it's another smack in the face to anyone who appreciates the truth. The public may never see evidence of what actually transpired, and no clinic will arrive. Moving forward, the more Meghan and Harry attempt to act normal while everything around them screams odd, the more the fractures reveal that others are making connections, comparing dates, examining body language, and studying images. No employee will leak documents, but the truth has a way of coming to light. Even the most devoted supporters will eventually stop defending the illusion when the same child starts to change strangely over the course of a few days. And when it finally breaks, when the press stops protecting them and the palace is unable to turn a blind eye, what comes next could be far more explosive than anything we've ever seen yet. As this isn't just a couple twisting the facts. It may be one of the largest image con jobs in royal history, and it may have been made possible by everyone from the top down.